do this thing. Let's pop. Do I have you muted though? Say
do
something.
You?
Oh no, you're
Hello?
good. I didn't realize I had the window over your head, so when I texted you, I was like, "Are you there?" And then I moved my camera and was like, "You're like, I'm right here." Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly wrap up, our Pixelbits live episode. Thank you so much for joining us here today. If it's your first time, we started this last Friday as kind of like a weekly show just to really talk about the stuff we talk about on the podcast. D&D, Critical Role, Worlds Beyond. Those are kind of like the main ones, but I'm sure we never really know what we're doing or what we're going to talk about before we hit record. True. All that to say, my good friend, we didn't record anything this week. How are you?
No, we didn't actually, huh? I'm doing good. I learned from my mistake last week. I brought coffee this time.
I actually thought when there was that slight pause before you held up the coffee, and I thought you were just ending it. I learned from my mistake last week, and then just,
You must wonder what I'm referring to. But no, it was still pretty full, so I was about to grab it, but I was like, I don't want to spill coffee everywhere. So
you're having an early coffee today.
I mean, it's 1 p.m.
Yeah, but we know.
It's an early second coffee. But this is actually my first coffee, which is weird, which I don't know what it is about Fridays, because last week I hadn't had one at all, and I don't know.
Okay.
People know way too much about my coffee habits, but
it's because I bully you about it every week.
Yeah.
You're like, you get really serious. Please stop.
But really, but no, I'm doing good. I'm happy it's Friday. A lot of not to get into the meat of things. Well, I guess we won't be really getting into it, but I'm feeling good because T3 was back last night and it was really good. You
messaged me if I was watching it, and then I saw on YouTube you put up a little reaction vid, and me, I resisted the temptation to click, though I wanted to.
This one's different from the last one I put out. I was just like, let me try something new. So the last one I put out was being sad at the community for how they reacted. This one was just like a more general, this is what I thought of the most recent episode.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was really good. Did you see any of it yet?
No. I've been out all day. I'll start watching a little bit of it this afternoon, but so it's good.
You're in for a treat. Yeah. It was really fun.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Okay. We got a couple people in chat. Almost just brewed coffee myself from the Rissa Rave, and oh man, pronouncing your name, Euroclidonis. I think that was pretty close.
That was impressive. I feel like that's right.
I just made a hot cocoa. Live your life.
It is hot cocoa season.
It is. I
haven't had one yet.
I've never been a big hot cocoa person, but let me ask you something. What ingredients? Because I want to dive into our history a little bit. What ingredients go into your hot cocoa?
Well, I feel like this is like a trick question.
No,
but
I'm just curious.
Well, just like the mix. I don't know if that makes me like a peasant, but I'm not making like homemade hot chocolate. So I'm like whatever mix exists, and then milk. People that use water need to go see a psychiatrist or something.
This is why I'm bringing this up, man, because when I was younger, I never liked hot cocoa. Then I got married and my wife was making it and she was putting milk in it, and I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm making hot cocoa, and game changer, let me tell you. It's definitely much better.
I mean, you in a pinch, if you gotta do water, you gotta do what you gotta do, but milk is definitely.
If you're in a pinch and you have to have hot cocoa, sure.
Hey, I've been there, so it does exist. And then some marshmallows on top, obviously.
Yeah, like a big marshmallow. You just.
Ooh, yeah. If you have those, then yeah, sure.
I was going for a Matt Mercer sound effect there, but I haven't quite mastered it yet.
Have you seen those? I guess I don't know, a hot chocolate kit. But it's like a lollipop that's like a huge marshmallow, and then like inside is like all this, like I guess the mix, and so like you you just boil the milk or whatever, and you stick the whole thing in there, and then like as it dissolves, it creates hot chocolate. It's pretty cool.
I don't like that. There comes a point where society has gone too far. You know,
that's like, where you draw the line.
I'm bothered by that for some reason. Okay. Like, who created
I don't
this?
really know what the distinctive difference is that makes you have a problem with it, but sure.
Yeah, that's the problem, Will. So, my friend Will, did you see the news last night? Baldur's Gate 3 Game of the Year.
Dude, I did see that, but I haven't like looked at anything from the Game Awards because I was watching Critical Role. So like I heard the highlights, including that. Mm-hmm. But I was gonna ask you, did you watch it or did you hear any of the other like announcements for new stuff coming or anything?
Only like after the fact. Like I watched some stuff on Reddit, but I didn't watch. I didn't even know it was last night until like pretty much all the awards have been given out. And some of the stuff I already knew about. Like I already knew Alan Wake 2 had gotten a lot of great positive press. But yeah, Game of the Year to Baldur's Gate 3, which I don't think really surprised anyone. Though I did have a friend who I play Diablo with, and he's like, "Do you think Diablo 4 is going to win Game of the Year?" And I was like, "Do you? Do you?"
No.
But
there was some stiff competition though, because
was.
Breath of the Wild 2 and Spider-Man 2, which was I love the first one, but I haven't played the second one, but people apparently freaking out about it.
Breath of the Wild 2 didn't win like best action game?
I don't know.
Wait, no. Is it the same thing as Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the name. I was calling it Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, they won best RPG, I think, and then Armored Core won best action game. So
I forgot Armored Core came out this year.
Yeah, and then Alan Wake won, I think, best narrative, or maybe Epic Games won like best studio direction. There's always like an award in these things, ceremonies, whatever you call it, where you're kind of like, did y'all just like need to add another award? Like I saw one was most anticipated game. And I was like, so there's no like real evaluating on like the quality. Yeah. You know, it's just, we're really
like the
excited
studio
about it. Yeah.
Paid for that award.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like, yeah, for sure. There's some weird ones.
Yeah.
Did I cut off a line of thought you were going down with Baldur's Gate 3 though? Or were you just...
Oh, I just think it's interesting because I mean, we talked about it on the podcast before, and then I had an article on LinkedIn about it. But a game with no microtransactions, I mean, you buy the game, you get the whole game, and I'm sure it's naive, but you know, you kind of wish more studios kind of would follow suit with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a D&D game, so
yeah,
kind of cool.
That neither of us have played still.
Yeah, we've played the intro.
Yeah,
so
we gotta get back in there sometime.
Right.
Maybe it would even be fun to do like in lieu of this 1 week, like do this. We still have the same conversation, but like while we're playing Baldur's Gate 3 or something.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna pronounce this every time. Euroclidonus. BG3 was so deserving, but Tears of the Kingdom was my personal best game this year. I just got so much out of it. And hello, Monomonkey. Yeah, you know, Tears of the Kingdom, Will and I are kind of split because Breath of the Wild, Will, you know, I was kind of mid on it and was kind of bored of it.
But you didn't really play it. Like, how much did you give it? How much of a chance did you give it, really?
I got to the first Divine Beast. Isn't that like 3 or 4 hours in or something?
Well, I mean, you could go to the first Divine Beast immediately if you wanted to.
Yeah, it wasn't that. And I'm a diehard Zelda player. I mean, our lo-fi mix at the start of this episode was Zelda lo-fi. The good people over at Zelda lo-fi. But I know you really enjoyed Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, for me, like Ocarina of Time was my like come to the light moment with Zelda. That just it's like, you know, what is it called? Nexus event or Canon event was like playing that as a kid, like getting it for Christmas or whatever. And some of the other ones between Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild were good. But Breath of the Wild was the first one since Ocarina of Time where like I got that like, whoa. Because like Ocarina of Time was like the first RPG on N64 that I ever played. I'm sure a lot of people ever played. And so like just exploring Hyrule, being like, wait, I can go over here and there's like a whole new area, you know? Breath of the Wild was like that for the modern age for me, just being like, wait, I can go anywhere, and like the game didn't put any limits on you. You could just like, yeah, if you go explore over there, you might find some cool stuff.
I think
it rung that same
Yeah.
bell for me.
Yeah. And just a great like classic good versus evil kind of story, I feel like.
Yeah.
My first moment like that was probably playing Elder Scrolls Morrowind, which was before Oblivion, which a lot of people played that, which was before Skyrim, which has been re-released like 15 times now.
Yeah.
But definitely that feeling of like, oh, I can go there, and not just go there, but there was like a quest there or like an item there, like someone, you know, intentionally put something. Sorry, I have a cold today. Intentionally put something at that spot, which was kind of cool. So
yeah. So I'm gonna have to revoke. I might be banned from the Pixelist after this statement, but I've never played a Elder Scrolls game.
that's okay. I mean, Elder Scrolls honestly wasn't mainstream until Skyrim came out. Like I remember going to get Skyrim and being surprised with how many people. Like I was a day one purchaser because I had played Oblivion and Morrowind. But Skyrim, honestly, it feels like is what like blew the game up, you know, and then led to Elder Scrolls Online, and you know, there's obviously some massive fanfare around what the next Elder Scrolls will be. But I think it's understandable you haven't played it. It is a truly great RPG. It's very deep, and like you can go anywhere and pretty much do anything. So it's very D&D-esque. You know, so you want to kill that guard? Sure. So.
Yeah, it's been on my list for a long time of like games I want to ultimately play at some point.
Yeah.
But I know we're on like a weird gaming tangent right now, but I feel like I have to say this since we were talking about it. But that same feeling of like just going out in the world and being like, oh, I can go here and there's stuff here. Elden Ring, man, is the GOAT. Like, so good.
Were they Game of the Year last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So good. So good.
Yeah, I have it. I think I've told this story, but my daughter, I guess she was around 3. We bought the PS5. We set it up. She was like playing it, you know, with her controller. And then
Elden Ring?
No, like playing on, because it comes with.
I was gonna be like, that one might give her nightmares.
It comes with Astrobot, which is a really great, fun native game on the console. But I remember when I was getting the console set up, it asks you, "Do you want to set up parental controls for the shop?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to do that," because I was just like, "Why would I need to?"
Right.
I'm a man. I don't. I could buy what I want. Well, I woke up the next morning, and you know, like many people, one of the first things I did was I opened my phone. I was in bed. It's like 6:00 in the morning. I look at my email, and I have an email that says like, "Thank you for your purchase on the PlayStation Store." Well, I didn't think anything of it because you'll get that email even if you download like free DLC.
Yeah,
At $0, it'll say "Thank you for your purchase." So I just assumed I had clicked on something the day before. Well, my wife, I end up falling back asleep. My wife gets up, and I get up about an hour and a half later. So it's around like 7:30. And she's like, "Do you know what our daughter was doing this morning?" And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "She was on some game that was like terrifying. Like she's way too young for it." And I was like, "There's nothing on there. Like what could she have clicked on?" She had gotten out of bed, turned on the PlayStation. The store, the way PlayStation is like auto set up is it has like these little cards, and it's often the store first. So she had just hit a button, it opened up the store in Elden Ring, and she bought the game. She bought it. I don't know how she bought it. She bought it though. And so that email I got was the purchase of Elden Ring, which I was like, well, honey, it was the game of the year, so I guess we have to keep it now.
She's got good taste.
So I still haven't played it, but I do own it. So there you go.
Well, yeah. Well, you gotta get around to that at some point because it was one of the best games of all time in my opinion.
Wow, that's high praise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If y'all played it, let me know what y'all thought. But it just, and I already said it, so I'm not gonna re-wax poetic here, but just that feeling, that same feeling from Ocarina of Time or like Mario 64, like of just being like, whoa, like somebody actually finally made a game where you can like, you feel like you can like go anywhere.
Yeah, and the Rissa Rave says, honestly, Elder Scrolls was the original Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of D&D like content. And then also it said, Elden Ring lore is so good. George R.R. Martin was part of the writing team for it. I did remember that.
Yeah.
Wasn't Elden Ring the same people who did Dark Souls too?
Yeah.
FromSoft. The lore for the other FromSoft games are always really good, and they do such a good, like, I don't know how it was in Elden Ring since I didn't play it, but in like Dark Souls, it was just very subtle and enough of like a tiny thread that you could pull on and start to kind of like discover, which I really enjoyed.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And it's so good. It's so good. And I actually read something about this recently that, and I don't remember their name, unfortunately, but the main guy that makes all those games, there's like one of the game director or whatever. He apparently like loved reading as a kid, but like all the books he had access to, or not all the books, but a lot of the books he had access to were in English, and he didn't read English. So like he had to just kind of piece the story together from what he did understand and like the pictures. And so a lot of it was like filling in the blanks with his own imagination. So he likes to tell stories in that way where there's lots of blanks. And so the players kind of have to fill in. So yeah, it makes for a really cool, like immersive experience, I think.
I adore that. I love that. There needs to be a name for that style, and maybe there is, but you know, and I know you and I, when it comes to like Critical Role with like Matt Mercer has kind of a similar style of like little tiny notes and details that we really like to dig into. So yeah, I don't know the expression of like that kind of storytelling, but I think that's definitely my preference. Like I really love like pulling on the thread, discovering small details, like going hard Pepe Sylvia, you know, like could this be that?
Yeah.
You know,
and kind of leaving it up to individual interpretations, you know, without like, there isn't like a concrete answer necessarily. So like everybody kind of gets to make their own story.
Yeah. And I feel like,
to some extent,
I feel like good writing is a lot of that, of like being comfortable with, like, I know Vince Gilligan has talked a lot about Breaking Bad, and he's gotten a lot of questions over the years of like certain writing decisions. And there was one question he got about why Walter White, by the way, I'm gonna try this as spoiler free as possible, why Walter White left a certain book in a certain spot that was then later found by someone.
Yeah.
I think you know what I'm talking about. So he got a question like, why, like what was Walter White doing? Because I was it this, was it that? And Vince Gilligan was like, you know, like we as writers, like in the writing room, we were actually split, and we were just comfortable with people dictating like what they thought was the reason for it. So I think you're right. Like there's an element of like, you kind of let people assign their own meaning to it, and I guess that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Another comment in the chat, Divinity 2 was my first Baldur's Gate 3. We played a little Divinity 2 together.
Yeah, we did. About like the same amount of Baldur's Gate 3. I feel like we like started it. That was fun. That was
another Larian game.
Yeah.
Same developer.
Yeah.
My first Baldur's Gate 3 was Baldur's Gate 2. Shadows of Am back in like 2001, 2000. I don't know what year it was. That game was amazing, which was the reason I like day one purchased Baldur's Gate 3, and then I haven't played it. It's because I'm such a WoW junkie. I'm playing like WoW all the time, I feel like. So
yeah, sucking me back in recently with the season of Discovery. But yeah, I never played Baldur's Gate 2, but I know you and I think Nate were like huge fans, so that's one of the reasons I was so excited for 3. But yeah, both of us should have just like waited and bought it on sale, because like probably going to happen soon.
Yeah, but one of the reasons I bought BG3 day one was I really wanted to support Larian Studios, because I had seen what they had done with Divinity 2,
Yeah.
And I just was really comfortable supporting them. And that's, I think, like another storyline here, or tangent, I guess.
That's fair.
Of, there's just studio developers out there who just do business the right way, that you're just like, yeah, I want to support that business. Or like Critical Role is another example, like the Critical Role company as it is. Like, they're just good people. They're like fun to support, and I hate that we always do this, but like, I feel like the very clear opposite of that is like Blizzard Entertainment or EA Games, like these companies that are very content to put a price tag on something and then deliver the results later. It's pretty amazing the amount of content in Baldur's Gate 3 for its price tag. And I guess we're just kind of surprised by that because we're just so used to, like Diablo 4 was a $70 game, $80 game. And then Path of Exile, I don't know if you saw the trailer for the latest League, which looks insane, and the new Mercenary class looks insane. It's a free-to-play game. So it's just kind of wild,
Yeah, I'm ready for that to come out. I saw the Mercenary thing that you showed me, but I didn't see like the trailer for the League. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, actually I don't know what the League was called. Now that I'm thinking about it, Abyss maybe.
So wait, they're putting out a trailer for a League that's not coming out for like over a year?
No, they released a trailer for the League, and then in the trailer they also included a trailer for the Mercenary class.
So it's a League for PoE 1.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. So.
Sorry, I just saw this. Monomonkey says, my only FromSoft game is Sekiro. I haven't played that one, but I've heard it's like so hard.
Yeah.
Like just one of the hardest From Software games, which is already a very hard studio, if you will.
I watched a video that was like the top 10 hardest bosses of like any game, and there was a boss from Sekiro in that, but I haven't played it. And then I feel like when Games Done Quick happens, there's always like, I say always, but for the last couple of years, there's been a Sekiro. Actually, don't know how to pronounce it. But
I don't either.
There's been a block for that.
Dude, the most recent one, we're just talking about how hard this game is, and the most recent Games Done Quick, a guy beat it blindfolded.
Yeah, pretty wild.
It is wild.
Which I showed it to my wife, and I feel like she wasn't appreciating it because I was like, "He's blindfolded," and she was like, "Okay," yeah. And I was like, "And it's really hard," and she was like, "Okay," and I was like, "I don't feel like you get it."
Yeah, you have to have like a base level of understanding, not of necessarily like the specific game, but like of kind of gaming and speedrunning to like have an appreciation for what you're seeing,
Oh, I will say she did play the original Sonic on Sega, and she claims she beat it. I don't believe her, but that's her claim to fame. Is she likes to, anytime there's like a gaming conversation with someone, I feel like she like pops in like, "Did you know I played the original Sega Sonic and I beat it?" And I'm like, okay.
It sounds like you need to get an emulator and put this to the test.
Here's what I'll say: we played like a PlayStation Store version of it, and she struggled a bit. But hey, there's a lot of dust on those hands. She hasn't worked the controller in a while. Right. So, but I will say I showed her an old Games Done Quick block on Sonic, and she was amazed by it. Like, it clicked for her. She was like, "How did they do that?" And I was like, "Exactly."
That's what you got to do. Like anytime, because I mean, this, but like I'm obsessed with speedrunning and Games Done Quick. So I always try to like preach the gospel to other people, and you have to find a game that they played or they know of, and that's how you kind of like introduce them to it. So for a lot of people, I'll show them like Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time. But Ocarina of Time is crazy. Like just the weird stuff they've found in that game. Like there's so many different categories. This is like a whole nother subject that maybe I shouldn't dive into, but yeah. That Games Done Quick coming up soon.
It's true. Usually January, right?
Yeah, I haven't, like, it must be like announced and stuff by this point, but I haven't looked at it. But yeah, usually January. And I think this one will be in person again.
Yeah. Last one was supposed to, but then.
Right. And it wasn't because of COVID and stuff. I don't think it was like a weird venue thing. Like a weird, It might have been like partially related to like the way the venue was handling things regarding COVID, but
I don't remember, honestly.
But yeah, but I think this one will be back in person.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
Well, we're coming to towards the end of our show. So we always like to answer questions. We didn't get any questions this time, but if you have any questions about D&D, DMing, or just comments or crazy theories about Critical Role, Worlds Beyond, we always like to answer those questions on the show. So if you have a quick one, we can always answer one. But otherwise, we're going to start winding down. And then in the future, you can always leave questions or comments in our Discord, or we'll always post on our YouTube channel on the community or post section leading up to the live stream. And you can always comment and write your stuff there as well. So having said that, the Rissa Rave did just say my first speed run that I understood the magic of was the first God of War. I'm assuming they're referring to the original God of War, and not necessarily the remake God of War.
Which one are you talking about? But yeah, I've seen for the first one, that speed run's really interesting. I watched like a 3-hour video of like breaking down the world, like the history of the world record. It was really fascinating.
Kinter asked thoughts on Four-Sided Dive from this week. Did you watch Four-Sided Dive?
I did. Did you?
I did not. I haven't seen it yet.
It was good. They talked about kind of the whole, big thing we've talked about. I don't know why words escape me right now, but the whole Ashton, everyone being, upset. They revealed that they're stopping the show because they all hate each other in real life, and this is the last episode of Four-Sided Dive. But no, it was a good episode. You should definitely check it out when you get a chance.
What was like the overall sentiment?
Just that they like the actions in game obviously do not reflect the actions outside of the game. In a nutshell.
Yeah, not to be like beat a dead horse, but like as it should be obvious, and yet, I've seen some weird comments, man. Not about that, but or included in that, but like weird comments about like I saw one that was like, hey, have you noticed how Liam, because Liam sits next to Taliesin, and like, hey, have you noticed how Liam, it was something like doesn't like turn his shoulders towards Taliesin when he speaks, and like there's obviously some kind of like tension there between the two of them. And I'm like, man, people they just love drama. Like it was like such like an out there comment that I was like, this is weird, a little weird, but I guess those are kind of like, what parasocial relationships are though. You watch these people week to week and you get really emotionally connected, and, you start to feel like, you're able to read them and maybe over analyze, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you just gotta go outside at that point if you're, being that scrutinizing of, body language. But Trisha asks, do you feel the character's attitudes toward Ashton for his recent FAFO, which I'm assuming is F around and find out, were too light, too heavy, or completely justified?
We shouldn't open this back up, bro.
Yeah, we probably don't want to get completely back into this, but not. Was it I guess it was 2 podcasts ago, or was it the most recent one?
It was both. We've talked in both episodes.
Yeah. So Blake and I give a big back and forth in those. If you want to check that out, but we will give the simple answer here is I thought it was harsh, but I thought it was justified. And Blake thought it was harsh and not justified. And not justified.
Yeah. but we both agreed we were referring, by the way, to the characters in game, rather than anything about the players themselves.
Right.
Euroclidonis, do you think we will get another EXU soon? I think there is slated a something storyline with the Crown Keepers. Dorian, I can't think of Matt's character's name. Dariax. I would assume we will get something around that at some point. But the fact that they've invested in EXU and they've done content around it, I have to assume we will get some kind of EXU. And was Calamity under the EXU banner?
It was EXU Calamity.
Yeah. So I mean, For sure. Yeah. I think we will.
Yeah, I think we certainly will. Now, what it is going to be is a great question. I do think it could be Crown Keepers Round 2. I would love to see that. Let's see. Calamity was the last thing, right?
Which was
And
just
it's
over
been a while now.
Yeah, about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, so like feels like maybe something could be coming up, but they obviously have had a lot of focus on Candela. But after this current chapter, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but I think everyone will have, from the main cast, everyone will have been in a Candela. Now, that's not to say they're going to stop doing it now, but I could see like that might be a natural place to be like, okay, now we're going to do an EXU and then come back to Candela after that or something. I don't know. But I certainly think there will be more EXU, and it feels like it should be soon, hopefully.
It seems like the cast really like Candela too. I mean, we're now on like the third arc within this series. So they clearly like doing it. Which, have you liked this third arc?
I haven't watched the third one yet because I was I think I was out of town when it aired. I don't know, but I plan on watching it, but I have not watched it yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But I really enjoyed the first 2 chapters.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, we're about out of time today. Let's do this last question from Fabian, who said, when you choose an RPG game, do you look for more story and plot over tactics and difficult gameplay, or a mix of both? Like the original Baldur's Gate was D&D rules, tactical heavy. A lot of the Souls games are action and difficult gameplay, or the balance of both, like Jedi Fallen Order, Survivor, or the new God of War. And are you looking forward to any games? I think this is a great last question. So let's do this in 2 parts. Let's do the first part of the question, then we can talk about, as we outro, our games we're looking forward to. For me, in terms of story versus gameplay, I feel like I'm a story junkie. I mean, I think I want like the epic story, not necessarily like grand, but like pull on the heartstrings, just a good story. And I will typically forgive anything else about it. So what about you?
Yeah, same. Story matters most. Like I haven't recently, like in the last 6 months, but prior to that, I was playing a ton of indie games, and those are typically about, well, they don't have to be, I guess, but there's a lot of story-driven indie games. So obviously, I love good gameplay, and if you can give us both, like something like Elden Ring, then amazing. But yeah, if I had to pick, it's definitely story. Like I'm more invested in a great story, like you said.
And then for games looking forward to, I would say for me, probably the next part of Final Fantasy VII is probably what I'm most excited about. I played the first remake one and really enjoyed it. Played with my wife, who had never played through it, and probably obnoxiously kept being like, this is like one of the greatest games of all time. She was like, that's nice. So really excited for the next step of that. So
has that come out? There's only been one still.
Yeah,
I still need to play that. Part of me is wanting to, like, because I don't have a PlayStation, but it is on. They ported the first part to PC, so I could play that now.
Yeah,
but part of me is like, at this point, I feel like I should just wait till it's all out. But we'll see.
It's gonna be a while.
Yeah,
for it to all be out.
Yeah, because even when part 2 comes out, it's gonna be like a year before part 2 comes out on PC.
Yeah, and part 2 is not the end. There's going to be another part.
Right. Is there only 3 though?
There was some drama, without getting long-winded. There was some drama about them saying how they wanted to do the parts, and it felt like they were like over monetizing it because each one was going to be its own full-price game. But I think there are 3, maybe 4 confirmed, and I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
So. But you were most a game you're anticipating or excited about?
I mean, not really. I mean, that's not to say that I'm not excited for anything, but nothing really like stands above the rest. Again, I don't have any of them listed. I'm seeing if I have like a Post-it note somewhere on my desk with like 10 indie games that I was really excited for, that were revealed like at last year's something. Like games, like one of those events where they just showcase a bunch of games. And I sadly cannot remember any of the names, but I am excited for the studio that made. Did you Firewatch? Did you play that?
I know it's the person who's like in like Montana or whatever, or I don't know where it is, but the person who like they work on like the tower thing.
Yeah, they watch for fires. This is a great example of a game that's. I mean, it's not like it has bad gameplay, but it's like it's all about the story. So that studio's been working on another game for a long time. I don't even know anything about it, but just with how good Firewatch was, I'm excited for that. And then Hades 2. Actually, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, my friend. Well, that is going to do it for us, everybody, today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, we have a Discord. We'll go ahead and I will link that very quickly.
Yeah, actually, I would be honestly surprised if anyone in this live stream isn't in our Discord. But if that's
Good point.
Like if you're down enough to come to this live stream and you're not in the Discord, what are you doing? Like get in the Discord. That's where the real party is. And that's where we'll be having our watch party this Sunday. Sunday Fun Day. I don't know if we've said what we're doing yet.
We have not. We are going to watch another holiday film, Jingle All the Way, with
classic
Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad and Anakin Skywalker
favorites
too. So,
wait, that's him?
Yeah.
I did not even realize that.
Is that him?
I don't think that's him, man.
Not
the little kid?
Well, he's the Anakin from the first movie.
Oh, not Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, no.
Okay, the little kid Anakin. Okay.
Yeah, the OG Anakin.
Okay.
You know?
I mean, when you say Anakin, I don't know how many people think of that kid before they think of Hayden Christensen, but okay.
Yeah, but we'll be watching that on Sunday night at 7:30 Central. And then we'll be back at our weekly show next Friday, same time. I'll be phoning in on my cell phone because I'll be traveling. And we'll have some more content out on the latest Worlds Beyond episode, and then Critical Role episode 79, our thoughts. We'll have that out soon as well, once I have time to actually watch it. So
yeah, fantastic episode. And maybe we should make a Discord channel for this. That could be like a good place for people to
post questions or comments. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll probably do that. But yeah.
All right. We appreciate you all. We'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you all so much for coming. These have been fun so far.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all. Pop.